2024. Yeah, this one was a doozy. Cancer strikes again. The year started out amazing because I know that year I was planning on spending 2 months in Congo. I just wanted to spend a very extended time with my family, and I had the ability to do that in the summer. So why not? We took the children. We went. The years, like I was saying, the year started out great. I celebrated. I helped decorate 100th anniversary for a business. Can you imagine 100 years? It was so great. From generation to generation, it was just passed on. It was a very, very wonderful legacy to leave on to your children, your children's children. And then that time, I started receiving specific instructions about Balunderland. God was showing me pictures. He was showing me pictures of what I needed to do, and I was just writing them down so that I'll follow according to pattern, like He told me to do. And one thing He told me about that year was that Balunderland that year Adassa's birthday will be the shadow of Balunderland that year. And I remember I wasn't planning on having a birthday like that for Adassa. I mean, for me, there's always a quiet birthday because my children don't have basic birthdays. They always have nice balloon decor and a cake, but I wasn't really planning on doing anything beyond that, right? But I remember seeing the words Hadassah in marquee. And I'm like, God, really? Do I need to do this? Anyways, because we're working with God, the Father, work with God the Son, work with God the Spirit, three of them one. Anywho, I went ahead and did that. It was really Adassa's birthday that year was so great because at the end of it, her friends prayed for her. Everybody went on, and the aunties prayed for her. The uncles prayed. It was just so fulfilling. And you see when but you know what it reminds me of? Say when the temple was done being built, the glory of God fell. It was exactly that. At the end, after we played, after we did everything, we ended it in that. I'm like, wow, this is what happens when you do things according to pattern. It was really, it was a great experience, and it made me look forward to Balunderland that year because, again, like I was saying, God told me it was the shadow of Balunderland because there was a specific thing that He told me, you're gonna practice it here to make it happen in Balunderland. I had planned to go to Congo. We went to Congo for almost 2 months for me and the children, for me and Hazi. Dasa and Daddy spent just under that, and we just wanted to spend an extra time that summer with family because we live so far. When we have the opportunity to spend time with family, we don't ever let that go. We always grab it and run with it. So we did that. One thing though, while I was at home, we one of the the great thing that we went to Congo for was to celebrate my husband's dad's 70th birthday and his graduation. Masters. Can you imagine? I love this guy. He's graduating at 70 with his master's degree. Like, I mean, I went to Congo, like I said, for a longer period that we've ever spent. And I found out that my uncle was sick. And because he was sick, he went to get treatment out of the country. There was a crisis. Something happened that I had to be rushed to the hospital. And I remember that day when we heard the news, my mom and I were home. We started pacing the floor, speaking, praying, pacing the floor because we're like, God, what is happening? He went there for treatment. He was stable. What's happening? All those things. I remember we're pacing the floor. And then after that, I went to sit down in the living room with my dad. Remember, I was having a conversation with my dad. The last time I saw my dad that way was when our house burnt down. Oh wow, I never talked about that actually. So I remember my dad came to give us the news and his eyes were red. That's the last time I remember seeing my dad that worried, so uncertain about the future. And it's the same exact way that it was that day. And I remember I told my dad, yeah, I asked my dad, it will be so expensive to go to Europe this time, wouldn't it be? He said the problem is not the fees. The problem is that even if we apply for visa right now, nobody will be able to get it on time because you have to go through the process, right? And then I told him, I don't need a visa. I can go. You should. Oh God. My dad's face lit up. Ow! Oh my God! I remember his face lit up so much. He called my mom right away. My mom was in the other living room. She said, "Can you get the person to book the ticket?" Like, you just saw that he just was such a relief. He did. I don't know that he didn't want to ask me that, because the thing is, I had my son there. And as much as I love all my family, my son has never been alone with them and we're not there, right? None of us, my husband wasn't in the country. The Adasa wasn't there. Azi was going to stay by himself. Again, it's not about the safety of this boy. I'm not worried. We weren't worried about the safety. It was just that he has never been in Congo by himself without his parents there. The sacrifice, he didn't want to ask me that. But I said, it's okay, I'll go. I said, I can go. I wasn't able to stay. I wanted to go for longer, but I couldn't stay too long because in a week from then was going to be my husband's dad's celebration. So I had to come. I say as much, but I won't be able to stay long. He said, no, you know what? However long you can is actually good, because they just wanted a familiar face to be with him because he was there. Anyhow, yeah, we just wanted a familiar face to be with him. And the way my dad lit up, I remember that he lit up. I was grateful that I was able to do that for him, to actually bring him that peace, at least to know that somebody that he knows and love is going to take care of someone who he knows and love. And this man, my uncle who was sick, is my dad's immediate younger brother, and they are the closest. And not being able to do that, to be there, was quite heartbreaking for him. So I got geared up. I went there. I went to Europe. It also worked out perfectly because 65th birthday was coming up and it was going to be in the hospital. And I called my brother, his first son. I told him, I want to do something for dad. Because, yes, he's in the hospital, but I really want this day to be memorable for him. He said, you know what? Yeah, why not do it? Even through opposition. I decided, you know what? I am going to do it. And we put it together so quickly, and thank God for all the ways we can communicate with each other now. Some things in this life. I went with my phone, my Canadian number. When I arrive in Europe, my Canadian number works just fine. It just connects to one of them networks there and it works fine. And it was working fine until the day I went to go get things for my uncle. My network left. Didn't have network. I left the hospital fine. I got to the party store. Now leave the party store to go to the hospital. No way to get internet. I said, Jesus. These narrow roads of Europe. I'm used to our North American roads that are big. Already here, everything is confusing and small. I said, God, what type of trial and tribulation is this? I said, you know what? I'm a fighter. I'm going to find my way home. I left the party station, the party place. I didn't have internet. I found the gas station. I got gas and I told them, do you guys have internet? I really need to just get a Google. I just need to connect to Google so I can get to the hospital. He said, of course, we have internet. are connected. And you know the thing with Google is, as long as you just put the way on an internet connection, even if you don't have internet in the end, you will still be able to, obviously, you shouldn't veer away from the routes, because it's not going to be able to recalculate for you, right? That's the only thing. And guess what? I missed my way again. European small roads and confusing roads. I missed my way. But because, again, I'm a fighter, one thing about me, I don't give up. I don't know how to quit. I do not quit. I don't quit. Okay? I said, okay, I am here. I can find my way back into that place, that highlighted route somehow. And I found my way to the highlighted route, and I was able to make it to the hospital. When I tell you the joy in his face, after I got there, it was a surprise to him. I was singing happy birthday. I was singing happy birthday to him. I was so happy. He made every single pain, every single heart thing that I encountered, being lost, having to go, everything was worth it to just see that smile on his face. And as God will have it, that was his last birthday on this earth. And I'm just so glad that I didn't listen to people that didn't want to celebrate him. And I stuck to my gut and celebrated him. And we called the family back home. All of us were wishing him happy birthday. When I tell you, it was a great time. It was a really wonderful time. It was a great time that we got to spend with him. After that, I went back home. I actually left. We celebrated on the day before his birthday, because I had to leave on his actual birthday to come back home for the party for my husband's dad. We had anniversaries, we have weddings, so many weddings. We went, the amount of weddings that we went to, the time that we were in Congo, in a year, in Canada here, I've not gone. Since in the 20 years I've spent here, I've not gone to like 8 weddings in 1 year. But I went in the space of 2 months. That's the things I missed. Anyhow, so I went home. I came back to Canada, was working, and then my brother, his first son, went to see him, to take care of him as well, but he had to leave. As he was leaving, he was looking for someone else to stay with him for at least a little bit. We spoke, and I said I was gonna go. So I went. I was only able to spend 2 weeks, because I had to take time off work and I had to come back to work. It's the biggest regret of my life. I wish I had quit the job self. It's not even like a good company self. Why did I stay in the job? I should have quit the place. So I quit it and stayed with my uncle. It's my biggest regret. I wish I had stayed, but I wasn't able to stay, genuinely. The only other option was when I be quitting. And I can't beat myself up for the past. And then November came. Balloonderland was launched. The first day, as I was just launching, I get a call from my brother. You know the irony of it? We were on the phone for at least an hour before that, just talking. Because my dad also, because his brother was getting worse. So my dad took a trip, an emergency trip, to go to see him, right? Because it was deteriorating quickly. My dad we still didn't have the news of him going to. Oh, I skipped one part. My dad came as I was leaving for Europe. As I was leaving Europe, my dad was coming also to stay with his brother. So we kind of exchange spaces. So he came, I left. That's why I shouldn't be hard on myself. He had somebody when I left. Okay. He had someone. Okay. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. So my dad stayed with him for a little while, and then he left. And then in November, I had Balloon the Land the first day. Then there we were hearing that he wasn't doing good. My dad took an emergency trip again to go. It was Balloon the Land day that he arrived. And I spent so much time with my brother on the phone. We were just talking, just talking about everything and anything. And after we hung up and went about our day, and then we're like, oh yeah, we haven't heard from Dad yet. We wonder what happened. I had my first guest at Balloonderland, and I get a call from my brother. He tells me that he's dead. This dad is dead. You see, in all of my believing for people for healing, I had never been as convinced that I was for him that he would be healed. I had never been that convinced ever. That's what my sister even said. When it comes to cancer, honestly, I don't know. I need to work out some type of faith because it has taken so many members of our family, and every time we were just convinced that it will happen. That this one stung. Because I'm a nurse, I take care of sick patients, but I've never had a family member. I've never taken care of a family member that's sick. Seeing them waste away. Seeing them wasting away like this, you're like, this is somebody that I know, somebody that I grew up with. This is how they are right now. And it really, really sucked. Really sucked. But I so believed. And I remember when I was leaving, I told him, you promised me we're going to see each other in Congo, okay? We never saw each other in Congo. I saw him in the casket. The first day of Balloon, like I was saying, I got a call from him. And to be honest, at that point, I didn't care anymore. I just went to hide in one corner like that. Thankfully, not many people had booked that day. Some people came. I was able to kind of drum up some because you have. But I told my husband, I'll tell my husband, I want to cancel tomorrow. I want to refund people their money because I can't do this. I can't. This death really stuck with me because I saw him sick. I took care of him. Anyways, I remember that time I said, what's the point of serving God? Because this man served God faithfully. Lost your wife to that same disease, your child to that same disease, and then you go with that same disease. What is the point of being faithful? At the end of 2024, I was questioning so many things. Again, it's not like I didn't love God anymore, but I was like, God, what is the point? Like, if all of us are gonna have the death, I'm gonna suffer. So why are we being so faithful? My husband said, he encouraged me, say, I know you want to. I know you feel like you can't do it, but I know you can. He encouraged me. And the second day of Balloon the Land, through the grief and everything, I picked myself up and we went about it. And you know how God is. God is so beautiful. That day there was someone that walked in. They said, one of the people that had booked, they said, the way everything that they said about Balloon the Land is what God told me will be about Balloon the Land. And after that, they sowed a big seed towards Balloon the Land. Nobody has ever sown that seed to Balloon the Land. I don't even know anybody that has given me that money. Yeah, someone's given me that money before. It was actually ironically for my uncle's funeral. She sowed a seed. He encouraged me. I was really encouraged because I needed it that day. I really, 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 really needed it. And God did it. God knew that I needed it, and He encouraged me in that way. And then in December, I went for the funeral. I went home for the funeral of my uncle. We buried him. We laid him to rest. And that concludes 2024. It was a doozy. Because cancer is struck again. I thought the Bible said affliction shall not rise again. Who are we to question Jesus? Yeah. See you next year.